I'm your number one fan.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
My mom and dad.
I see dead people. Hello. That was aggressive, huh?
What the hell? I always say it first.
I know I wanted to this time.
Oh, okay, well.
I felt
You
left
weren't
out.
near close enough to your mic, but...
Oh, sorry. Is this better?
Little.
I feel like it's been a while. Behind the scenes, we haven't recorded in a while. I was gone for a week, so
Yeah.
I missed you.
Missed you too.
Also, kind of horror related. Before we get into the news, have you watched Fallout yet?
No. Dylan's watching it without me.
You should watch it. We finished it. We watched it in Discord in one day. We finished the whole thing, start to finish. We started at 9 a.m., ended at like 5 p.m.
Holy shit.
And it was really good. And it's kind of like horror adjacent, based on a video game. And yeah, so if anybody out there hasn't watched it yet, you should. It's on Prime. Very good. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
All right. It's on my to-do list.
Great.
So we can talk about it in a couple of years.
Perfect.
Yeah, welcome back to Killer Cuties.
That's us.
We've got some news for you.
We sure do. Kick us off, Katie.
Yeah, I'll go first. I have some really special news. An ode to the first ever episode of Killer Cuties podcast. There's a Blair Witch Project reboot happening. It's Jason Blum. He's teaming up with Lionsgate. They brought us the Twilight series to make a new Blair Witch, and it's supposedly a multi-film deal. So we've got a bunch of Blair Witch coming down the road. Adam Fogelson at Lionsgate said it's a new vision that will reintroduce the horror classic for a new generation, which almost makes me wonder if it's even going to be found footage. I hope.
I feel like you can't do Blair Witch and not have it be found footage.
I would think.
I don't think this is a good idea, but I'm willing to see it play out.
Well, you want to know the worst news?
I do, yeah.
He's also Jason.
We know Jason.
Yeah. Is partnering with the guy who did the 2016 remake.
Oh.
So, do with that information what you will.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well.
We'll see.
You will see. Speaking of Lionsgate.
Oh.
They did give us the iconic Twilight series.
They did.
But more importantly to me, they gave us Saw. And in that realm, they have announced that they've pushed back Saw 11's release by a full year.
Holy shit.
I know. So now it's going to be released in September of 2025 instead of this September. So I'm pretty sad about that, but it's out of my hands. What am I going to do?
What is this, COVID?
Yeah, kind of still.
Okay, this one's kind of horror adjacent, but there's like blood and stuff.
Great.
Yeah, so Among Us. It's getting an animated series, and the cast is fucking stacked.
What?
Yeah, we've got Randall Park, who you probably don't care about. He plays Jimmy Woo in the Marvelverse. Which, by the way, look him up. He's 50 years old. I never
Randall
would have
Park?
guessed. Yeah.
Okay. Googling.
He looks incredible.
Oh, wait, I know him. Yeah, he was in Always Be My Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
That was a cute movie. He does look very good.
For 50, right?
For anything, but yeah, for 50, especially.
Yeah. Anyway,
Good for him.
So he's in it. Ashley Johnson from the Last of Us video game is in it
Mhm.
because it's an animated TV show.
Great.
Yvette Nicole Brown from Community,
Love her.
same, and freaking Elijah Wood,
Iowa.
Frodo
Oh.
Baggins himself. Yeah, that too. He was also from Iowa. I forget your priorities. He's also in Yellow Jackets, which I forgot completely.
Elijah Wood?
Yeah.
Oh, must be season 2. I still haven't watched that.
Oh, you know what? That might be it. I don't think I've watched it either.
I don't watch it.
Which is weird because I love when people be eating each other.
There wasn't enough cannibalism, honestly. I don't know if they did more in season 2.
I think they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also kind of thought it would have been like a fun twist if there wasn't any cannibalism. Like if that was just like an assumption that we made.
Ooh,
But I
yeah.
don't think that they did that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone who's seen season 2, please let us know.
Let us know.
What happens. Okay, next news from me. M. Night Shyamalan's upcoming movie, Trap.
One of the guys from Pearl Harbor is what? One of the guys from Pearl Harbor is in that movie.
Yes, it stars Josh Hartnett, underrated Scream King.
Love him.
They released their first trailer, so you can watch that now. I watched it. It actually looks like kind of fun. I will be watching it when it comes out for sure. Mainly because I think Josh Hartnett might be like one of my first celebrity crushes ever.
Probably me too.
Yeah, because of your favorite movie ever, Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Wait, really?
Yeah, that movie, like, but the scene with like him and Kate Beckinsale, and she like pulls him closer by his necklace, and I was like, oh, like 8-year-old me was, it did something to me.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I named my kid after a character in that movie. I fucking love Pearl Harbor.
Okay. Me and Dylan both know who she's actually.
Yeah. No. It's an argument for another time.
I'm on his side on that one.
Yeah. Okay, one more quick one I want to bring up
Mm-hmm.
is that I hope that you haven't heard about this one yet. We got a first look at the upcoming psychedelic horror film She Loved Blossoms More.
Ooh, I haven't heard about this.
Oh, good. It looks so fun. Like we just have one picture of it, but I'm obsessed with it. It's giving Annihilation a little, but it's a horror comedy.
Oh.
Which I don't know. I kind of wish it wasn't just based on the picture, but like totally willing to give it a chance because it looks really dope.
Yeah.
It's supposedly about a couple of brothers trying to bring their mom back to life, and they get stuck in what they're calling a psychedelic hellscape.
Okay.
So I'm into it.
Definitely has comedy written all over that.
Does it?
Oh, that's the joke.
Okay, I was gonna say. But it's screaming. It's screening at Tribeca in June, and we should get a release date between now and then.
Okay, very cool.
We should go to Tribeca. Like, let's just go.
This June?
Yeah, you know.
Oh.
It's like around, right?
Yeah.
Is it in LA?
I have no idea. I don't know. I would assume California because that's where all of the shit is, but I don't know. June 5th through the 16th. Oh, no, it's in New York City.
Oh, fuck. Goddamn. The one movie festival that's not in LA. Dumb.
Yeah. I do want to go to Sundance next year, though.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one last piece of horror news.
Okay.
Paramount Pictures and Miramax have collabed to reboot the Scary Movie franchise. So they've announced that they're going to start filming this fall, and then the release should be sometime in 2025. So I have mixed feelings about that because, like, the first, I'll be very generous and say 3 are good. The last 2 were awful. So bad. So we'll see. Who knows? I would really like them to get the Wayans brothers back because that's, I think, what made the first 2 so funny. But I guess we'll find out. Also, Alexis VA made a fan poster for it, and they put the they put the tagline, "Don't worry, we jailed the previous producer." And I really want them to keep that because if you don't know, Harvey Weinstein was the previous producer. So it's like double funny because the last couple movies really were bad, but also like he's literally in jail. So I thought that was funny, and I think that they should pay Alexis and use that because that's great.
That's fucking funny.
That would make me go see it.
I love that. I mean, I think to their credit, they do have a lot more to play off of. Like, I would love to see like the Jordan Peele movies be made fun of, the A24 movies, Ari Aster.
Yeah, that was, they used like Midsummer for the fake fan poster. So I think there's definitely enough content for them to make fun of, but it's just, it all comes down to how they do it, what kind of jokes they do, and if it's well made. But
yeah,
obviously they're very hit or miss, so we will see.
Yes, we will.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's what you missed on horror news.
It is.
Should we get into it?
Please.
Okay, we're here to talk about Arcadian. It just came out on April 12th, 2024, starring Nicolas Cage. In the near future, on a decimated planet Earth, Paul, played by Nicolas Cage, and his twin sons find tranquility by day, but terror by night when ferocious creatures awaken and consume all living souls in their path. When Paul is nearly killed, the boys come up with a desperate plan for survival, using everything their father taught them to keep them alive. Like I said, starring Nick, Jaeden Martell as Joseph, one of the sons, Maxwell Jenkins as Thomas, the other of the twins, and then Sadie Soverall playing Charlotte, one of the twins' love interest. It had a low budget. I couldn't find what it was. It's only made about $500K since it was released about a week ago at the time of us recording. It's got a 52% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, but an 84 critic score. So
I guess it's for us and only us to decide.
Yeah, we are the critics.
It's us. Before we launch into Arcadian, you saw this in theaters, correct? I think.
Is there another way?
In theaters. I don't know. Maybe there's like some hand cam footage somewhere that you could get your hands on.
I saw it in theaters.
Okay, did you get a preview for Sasquatch Sunset?
I did, and it was fucking hilarious. Holy shit.
I don't know how this is the first time I'm hearing about that movie, but that took me so off guard. I was like, I think I audibly laughed in the theater.
Yes.
For anybody who doesn't know, it was like, it's a movie about Sasquatches, but it's, the preview starts and it's just a camera like panning through nature, and then it hard cuts to just two Sasquatches going at it, like sexually.
They're fucking.
And I didn't really pay attention to the rest, but what a preview. Like,
Yeah, that movie looks insane. I don't think it's horror.
Yeah.
It is Ari Aster.
He was, I think he produced, right?
I don't know, but he's associated somehow.
Yeah, I don't think he directed it, but I want to say it was like executive produced or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, it's definitely not horror, but I guess it got me pumped up to see Arcadian.
Yeah. I took my dad to watch this movie with me, so it was really fun watching that trailer with him.
That's, you know what? I think this is like a take your dad to the movie. Because it's about a dad, right?
Yeah.
I think Nick Cage said too that he kind of based it off of his dad because his mom wasn't around as much when he was a kid.
He did.
And so he wanted to play off of that kind of father-son relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ben Brewer, the director, said that Nick Cage brought a lot of his own ideas to the movie too, and a lot of them were inspired by his dad. Ben said that his favorite scene was when everybody's at the table, the dad and the two sons are at the table, and they do the like, "We are men," and they stab the table, which was like a little awkward in hindsight, but it also is like a very like touching scene that was Ben's favorite, and apparently that's something that Nick had come up with 5 minutes before they started filming.
I will say I was like, men, you know?
Yeah.
What an expensive way to show your solidarity. Just keep stabbing a table. I guess money doesn't really matter in that world, but I did like that it kind of immediately set up that, now I'm going to forget the kids' names, that Thomas, even though like him and his dad kind of butted heads a little bit more, I think it showed that he was a little bit more similar to his dad. Like they immediately just stab it, and then Joseph's the one that like can't actually stick it in, which again, like it was a very subtle way to show us that Thomas was more of the physical, impulsive one, and Joseph was more of the intellectual, logical one. And it was a very subtle way to kind of introduce that to the audience.
Totally.
Yeah, both Jaeden Martell and Maxwell Jenkins said that working with Nick Cage was great because he was so collaborative. Like you said, he put a lot of himself into the things, and they said every day he would come in and he wasn't ever self-serving. It was always, what is this scene about? How can we make it better? What's the best idea for the scene? Not just for him and his character, which I think is cool because that's not always how highly paid A-list actors are like on set. So
yeah. And I'm not sure that he was really highly paid for this one. I think there's been some discussion that it's a very low budget film. So I can't imagine. I mean, if it was low budget, then most of it would have had to gone to him.
True.
So
which I think. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think it feels like he's doing more passion projects. So I would not be surprised if he didn't get paid a whole lot for this one.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I feel like he's always kind of done that. He'll do, the big blockbusters like National Treasure and stuff like that, but then he's also done these kind of more indie projects that are much more intimate and low budget. Yeah, I can appreciate that. It's kind of like I feel like it's very, the actors who take that route, I think, I don't know why, I just like that. Like Daniel Radcliffe did that. He did these huge blockbusters of Harry Potter, and then he was like, I made all this money, I can do whatever I want. And then he started doing these indie projects that were really, some of them were so good that I like that a lot. And Elijah Wood kind of did the same thing with Lord of the Rings, then started doing these kind of side projects. But
Robert Pattinson.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
Me too.
More of that, please.
Yes, please. But no, Nick, we're on a first name basis too.
Nick, Jason,
everyone we talk about, we're on first name basis. He described this one. I like the way he described it. He described it as a mix of horror, sci-fi, and independently spirited drama, which is very much what it is. Yeah. And Mike Nilan, the writer, is also Nick's manager. They've worked together for like 15 years, and he approached Nick like, hey, I have this idea that I think you're really going to like, because you have been looking for a horror, sci-fi, independent drama, family movie. And Nick was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I'll do it. I love that.
Yeah, I like that. And apparently for like prep for the movie, Nicolas Cage just isolated himself with his family for like 3 months.
Of course he did.
Chill out.
Did you need to do that?
No, they never need to do it, okay? Although, honestly, that's like the least obnoxious form of like method acting.
Yeah.
At least he's not sending condoms to his coworkers.
But
Jared Leto. Talking to you. I have personal beef with him.
Yeah.
He doesn't know it, but
one day
it's
he
on
will.
fucking sight. Oh.
I don't remember what I was
It looked
say.
like you were gonna say
No, I was. Mike, you know Mike.
Yeah, we know
writer. Made up the story kind of through COVID based off of his own 2 twin boys.
Oh, were they attacked by monsters?
Well, no, but the characters are reflections of his own son's personalities.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
do you think you'd be like offended if your parents wrote you into a movie?
If my parents knew me well enough to be able to write me into a movie, I would be flattered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What
think
about
I
you?
would have to see the finished production, but I would like to think that my mom would not do me dirty. I think it would be accurate. And
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of mom goggles. Because my mom definitely has mom goggles when it comes to me and my sister.
In what way?
Like, she just thinks, like, you know, we're so great.
Well, yeah. Duh.
Do you want to hear two of my favorite Letterboxd reviews for this?
Yes. I love a letterboxd review.
Yeah, they both made me laugh a lot. Drew Clark said, "These motherfuckers fighting some Studio Ghibli monsters."
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was very accurate.
Honestly?
So I really liked that. And then NDC 32002 said, "Of the hundreds of post-apocalyptic films I've seen, this had by far the most realistic haircuts."
So true.
Right?
So true.
Like, the one kid has like a not fully formed mullet, and the other one just has patches of hair. Like,
Yeah, like they just like randomly in the middle of the day just took scissors, and that is very
right?
accurate.
I know. I didn't
have
even
fucking fade.
No. And I like, when I was watching the movie, I kept looking at his little like bald spots. I was like, oh my god. And then I read that afterwards, and I was like, oh my god, you're right.
Yeah.
You would have a shitty ass hair. Not me, because I've cut my hair and it looked good. But I'm different. I can watch one YouTube tutorial and I'm set. I guess I wouldn't have a YouTube tutorial.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Without YouTube, I would be half the person I am today.
Honestly, same.
Yeah.
Really shaped me as a child.
Yeah. Speaking of the monsters,
Yes.
Ben Brewer, the director,
Mm-hmm.
is known for his VFX work.
Hmm.
He was on the Everything Everywhere All at Once team. Yeah.
Love that movie.
And me too. I think I told you about coming out of the theater for that movie.
No.
So Dylan and I went to see it, and we're coming out of the theater, and I just kind of crumbled to the ground and sobbed. He had to literally pick me up and carry me to the car. I had a fucking existential crisis after I saw that movie.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I saw it on a plane, so I had to hold it together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that plane would have been going down with me.
Oh, whoa.
Anyway, he brought the head of VFX for Everything Everywhere over to Arcadian. And one thing that I thought was really interesting is that they did a lot of work to make the VFX accessible. And I don't mean like digestible, because they certainly were not, but like literally accessible. Like he did a lot of creating in Blender, which is a free tool. Anybody can use Blender. And then he worked with his brother, who's a sculptor, to create the monsters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I know in an interview, Maxwell Jenkins was talking about what it was like filming. Because everything was on set. They filmed in Dublin. So they didn't use like green screens or anything like that.
Nice.
But he said they had these kind of glove things for the monsters' hands that they would use. And then they had a stunt team who was in motion capture suits, and they would do the movements of the monsters. But he said that the frame of reference for what the monsters were going to look like in the end was just constantly changing throughout production. Like they would just keep coming up with a different explanation. And I feel like you could kind of see that in the end. It kind of felt like they had 12 different ideas for the monsters and just put them all together.
Yeah. Well, also, I think the monster in the trailer is completely different to the monster in the movie.
Yeah, see, I couldn't remember, because I just remember seeing fur. Because remember in our predictions, I said, I think
They're furry.
fur. Yeah, I don't know. But I even feel like scene to scene they kind of looked different.
Yeah, and I mean, they were a little shapeshifty, right? So I
Yeah.
would expect them to look a little different. But yeah, like even like the tone of them changed by the end of the movie. And if you Google them,
Mhm.
nothing that looks like them comes up.
No. Well, and I'm sure that might change once it's like a more accessible film, because right now it's just in theaters and select times.
That's fair.
But yeah, I feel like the first time we saw a full view of the monster, I think, is when he captures it and it's in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that monster compared to the monster that attacks them at the rose garden or whatever, those were like two different monsters.
Wildly different. Well, the one in the bedroom looked like it was out of the fucking tiki room. Right? He looked like a fucking tiki.
He kind of did. And it was almost more like wolf-like, whereas like the ending one was much more alien-esque. I don't know. It was very strange.
Yeah. And then there was no introduction to the like chomping until the last scene of the movie. The chomping came out of nowhere.
I laughed out loud. And I don't think that was the intent, but the like, clapping that they did, it reminded me of those, those toys with the 3 hands, and you just
yes.
Yes, it was clapping at me, and I kept laughing every time they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there were aspects of the monsters that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
They were very unique, which is rare at this point in the movies.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of things you haven't seen in some aspect before. And like the first scene where he traps it and we kind of first see it, like the hand come through the door and it keeps getting closer.
Shit.
Oh my God, I was holding my breath the whole time. Like, that was such a cool scene.
Yeah.
But the clapper thing, I kept laughing, and I feel like the way that they kept changing how they looked, and it didn't, honestly, I think one of my biggest critiques of the movie was that it didn't feel done. It didn't feel fully fleshed out. I feel like it was like a little underdeveloped. And I think the same goes for the monsters.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it on free software, so. But no, I agree. I think one of my biggest critiques is that, kind of like what you said, that scene with the like fingernail unfolding, getting longer, whatever was happening there was fucking freaky.
Yes.
And then I think they just showed too much of the monsters. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Had they just kept it at that, like, implied or leave it up to your imagination kind of thing, it would have been a lot better on, like, the monster front.
Yeah. I don't know. Because I still think, like, there were parts of the end where I really did like it. Like, I liked the fact that it was almost kind of a hive mind and they would hoard together and
like spin.
Like the flaming wheel coming towards them was cool as, like, that was so sick.
Yeah.
I loved that. But yeah, then there were aspects that I was like, okay, that looks a little wonky. I don't really get it. But they didn't really explain anything in this movie, which is, again, why I kind of feel like it's underdeveloped.
Yeah. See, I didn't mind the whole not explaining things. I feel like enough was answered. I don't know why it's called Arcadian, and I was trying to look into that. That bothers me a little bit. But I mean, there's room for a prequel, there's room for a sequel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's room for remakes.
I guess I think it's inevitable that people are going to compare this to A Quiet Place.
Which I hate. Please don't. Not once did that thought cross my mind, except the monsters, sort of.
100%. I was thinking of A Quiet Place throughout the movie. And I kind of have to compare them because I had hoped, when I started kind of getting that vibe, I was kind of hoping that this movie would fix the things that I had issues with in A Quiet Place.
It did.
It didn't.
Your complaint about Quiet Place is that they explained it too much.
Yes, but then they like went the whole opposite direction and didn't explain anything.
Oh, see, I liked that.
So,
I didn't want answers.
Yeah, I hated the, like, panning over the obvious newspapers, but, like, there has to be a happy medium. where we at least get something.
What do you want to know?
Just anything.
Like,
honestly, the entire beginning scene could have been cut. It didn't add anything. It didn't help us learn anything. Well, why did he leave his babies in a shed? Are they even his babies? We don't even know. Where's the mom? They're newborns.
Mom's dead. That's implied. Mom is dead. That's implied. He had to go get
I would
supplies. And it was establishing that, they had grown up in this world. They don't know anything different.
Yeah, but I feel like you could have showed that just in the rest. At least, like, give us something about where did the monsters come from? Were they here all the time? They have that one scene in the shed where they kind of start to touch on it, but they never fully flesh it out. And I guess to me, it just feels like the filmmakers didn't think about it. They were just like, oh, monster movie, we don't have to explain anything. We don't have to, like, think of an idea of how this happened. It can just be something and we don't have to, like, explain anything.
So that for me was explained by the conversation that Thomas and Charlotte had, where they were like, explain the apocalypse in 10 seconds or less.
Right,
because
they don't even know.
Nobody knows.
I don't buy that nobody knows, though.
But there's they've been ostracized from their communities.
Down.
Yeah, like they're busy with other shit. They don't have a government. They don't have any way to like disseminate information.
Yeah, but clearly, like, Nicolas Cage's character was around when the downfall happened. So he has to have some information. He was in a city. For Christ's sake, he was in a city.
I don't know. I'm already nervous about what our ratings are going to be of this movie.
Oh,
but
no.
It didn't bother me. It just, I got fine. Exactly the right amount of information out of it. And
there you go.
Made me feel like there was still room for prequel, sequel.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely left it open.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I would be so stoked to see Jaeden Martell and Maxwell Jenkins and Sadie Soberall come back because they're all fucking incredible.
They were really good. I'm not as familiar with the other two, but I've seen a lot of what Jaeden Martell has done, and I just think he's just solid in everything I've seen. And so I'm excited for him to be in more stuff. He was in the It remakes. He played young Bill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Nice. He did great. He was in The Lodge, which I think is on our list for like winter time because it's like a wintry horror movie.
Cute. Cozy.
Yeah. And then I saw him in Defending Jacob too, which is like an Apple TV series.
What's his face?
Chris Evans.
Is it Chris Evans? Oh, I thought it was Ben Affleck.
No. Chris Evans plays the dad. Yeah, I liked him in all of those things. Like, I thought he did a great job, so.
Huh.
And in this. None of the performances were bad.
No. Yeah, Nick Cage was very good too. I was actually surprised that he was
underutilized.
He played a big role, but he was underutilized, which fine. Like, he doesn't need to have the spotlight. I still think he carried very well, but Yeah.
Can you guess my actual least favorite part of this movie?
Is it Nick Cage?
It has to do with his character.
His character?
Yeah, it's also a thing that they did not fix from A Quiet Place.
Oh. Well, I don't know.
The fucking unnecessary dad sacrifice.
Why was it unnecessary?
Why was it necessary? He just locks him in a room and then stands there while he gets blown up.
You think
there was no reason.
You think all four of them could have fit in the freezer?
If they would have shown them trying to get in and one person couldn't fit, sure. That's all they needed to do. But, like, as it stood, he didn't even try. He just stood there and blew himself up for no fucking reason.
Here's the thing.
No.
He was gonna die anyway. He was on his deathbed.
Oh, he got up just fine and started shooting the Studio Ghibli monsters.
It's called adrenaline, babe. He had to protect his kids. He got a last minute second wind, enough to sacrifice himself.
It's a pet peeve of mine. If you're gonna do a sacrifice, it has to be like the only option. Otherwise, it feels unnecessary, and it just feels like you're trying to evoke an emotion from me, and it's not working because it just made me angry.
Okay, so I agree. Not a lot, but I agree that yes, I also was like, why are you sacrificing yourself? Like, what? There has to be another way.
There
But
does.
it moved so quickly. Like, if you're a parent in that situation and you know that sacrificing yourself will give them enough time, you're not thinking about any other options. It did.
It slowed them down because Jaeden Martell's character was trying to get him to come in.
That's not Nicolas Cage's fault.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Nicolas Cage spent the last 15 years pounding it into their brains that they need to be, able to take care of themselves and independent. And here's fucking Joseph.
Caring about his dad?
Yeah, how fucking dare he?
Oh, I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, Mom, what the fuck are you doing? Get in here. There's no reason for this. Because there wasn't.
Well,
we didn't even fight off the monsters. As soon as they broke through, it blew up. It was... Oh, I hated it.
Well, that's your personal opinion. I thought that scene was incredibly moving. I cried.
Nope.
I had to stifle a couple heaves.
I got angry. I got mad.
No. God, you've never been wronger.
I have, actually. But
yeah, you have. That scene was very moving. I enjoyed it a lot. Because, yes, there could have been other options, but, like, quick tally on the pros and cons list, he's dead. Like, he's gotta go.
I don't think so, but...
I mean, you knew somebody was gonna die.
Oh, I knew exactly what was gonna happen. I just wanted them to make it make sense.
See, I
wanted, like, them to get in, realize that there wasn't enough room, and then him to, like, get out, make sure they're all in, shut it on them, and then go sacrifice himself. That's what I wanted.
Okay.
Because then it would have felt like someone's gonna die. You know what I mean? Where it's like he's now realizing this is an absolute necessity that someone has to go, and it's gonna be him. Okay. Instead of just he didn't even look at the fucking cooler. He didn't even know the plan. He woke up, started shooting, and then killed himself. Like, it was...
Well, so here's the other thing. You can have your opinion. I'm not going to agree with it. But they lost their house. Charlotte lost her house. He's another mouth to feed, and he's injured, and they have to drag him around. They don't have any more resources. So another reason to sacrifice himself. See, you're just a fucking hypocrite. I'm sorry. You're a fucking hypocrite. Because the whole episode of Quiet Place, they explained it too much. It's too explanation-y. And here's a movie that didn't give you everything in the palm of your hand. They made you think about it, and you're not even taking the fucking time to think about it.
No. I did not say that the whole time of Quiet Place. I said I didn't like the one scene where they're panning over the whiteboard that says, monsters can't hear. Like, it was so stupid. I didn't want them to go the complete opposite direction. And actually, you're a hypocrite, because we literally just talked about this in our episode on Cube, where we said you can't go through it and answer no questions. So you're a hypocrite, not me.
But this movie answers a ton of questions. You just have to think.
Not really.
You're just
making up answers, though.
No way. Yeah. You think that scene between Thomas and Charlotte, I had to look over their names. Thomas and Charlotte, where they're talking about, the apocalypse, explain it in 10 seconds, was not them trying to explain that nobody knows what happened?
Yeah, but I just don't buy that nobody knows. You were there for it.
Well, you know what? Well, they weren't.
Nick was. He's not going to tell his kids?
No, I don't know.
Oh my God.
And if the world is like, if the world comes to an end, I don't think you're going to know what happened always.
All right.
Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
To be clear, I don't agree to disagree. I think you're wrong. But you're welcome to agree to disagree.
Oh, no, you're wrong. But we can move on.
Oh my god.
Do you want to know something I did like about the movie?
Sure. So there is something.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hate it at all.
Okay, good. Okay,
I just had some issues with it.
Okay.
I really liked their use of foreshadowing. Because I feel like typically you see something in a movie, it focuses on it, and you're like, okay, 30 to 40 minutes, this is going to come back, and it's going to be a part of this. In this movie, it was like 5 minutes later. And so I think when you're used to a formula and then they switch it up like that, where the foreshadowing was just coming into play way sooner than I expected it to, it almost took me off guard. Like, when he fell into the ravine, I was like, I was not expecting this ravine to come into play until later. So I knew, like, you know that one of the kids isn't going to make it to the checkpoint in time. Like, you know that. As soon as they split up, you're like, okay, one of them's not going to make it. But I like that they kept you guessing about which one it was going to be until the last minute. And then him falling, I was like, oh shit. Like, when they focused on the ravine, I was expecting this to come in, like, maybe at the climax of the movie. That was going to be used in some way. Not immediately.
Yeah.
Or even like the cage that he built. Like, you see him drawing the plans and stuff, and that he has this idea for it, but you don't realize he's already put it into effect and it's ready.
Yeah.
So when the cage like fell on him, I was like, oh shit, okay. It's happening already.
Yeah. I also like that they dropped like wrong Easter eggs. Like, I keep talking about this conversation that Thomas and Charlotte have, where they're talking about, oh, and a bug bit you or blah, blah, blah. And then in the next scene is kind of like the tension between, who somebody's going to get hurt. Is it Joseph or is it Thomas? And Joseph's like in the bug swarm. We're like, fuck, he's going to get bit and he's going to get sick and he's going to turn into a monster or something. I mean, that's where my brain went.
Yeah.
And then here's Thomas falling down that ravine that you saw. I liked that a lot too.
Yeah. They used real cockroaches too.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you $1 that the reptile place that I used to work at is who sourced those.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. They had a roach wrangler, and I guess they were asked if they were squeamish about that. And Maxwell Jenkins said, I was, until they were all over me. And that's my nightmare, so I don't think I would handle that well.
Yeah, bugs are really exposure therapy does wonders for bugs.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I had to do that when I was working at that reptile store.
I know you did.
It was fun. It was a good
No,
time.
thanks.
Good memory after I got used to it.
Yeah.
Nick Cage, in an interview that I thoroughly enjoyed, was asked what his end of the world snack would be. Can you guess what he said?
I do not know Nicolas Cage enough to know the answer to this.
No. Canned lentils. He said they're high protein, low fat, vegan, and they would go really easily with like a quick pesto.
I would have never guessed that.
Me neither, but I mean, it's very practical.
Yeah. It's not a dumb answer.
No, not at all. I would have said fucking nerds clusters. That's all I care about. Fuck your protein.
I have never thought about it, because if I had to eat like one food in an apocalypse, I think I'm good. I don't want to do that.
Just
sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
For like a month, I'll eat the same food. And then I have to have a new food to eat for a month.
No, I do meal preps, and like by like day 4, I'm like, okay. I'm sick of it.
No.
Okay, last thing I'll say critiquing this movie is the fucking shaky cam.
Holy shit. So bad.
What was that?
It was only in like a couple scenes, but it was so bad.
Oh, I think you just got used to it, because it was pretty much throughout the entire thing.
You think? Well, I mean, yeah, it was throughout the entire thing, but it was only like certain scenes. It wasn't every scene.
But it's like, it would just be Nick Cage standing in a field, and the camera was like moving. Like, I would have to try to have that unsteady of a hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nick Cage, maybe you reach out to me. I'll pay for a tripod for your next movie, because that was crazy.
Seriously. Oh my
I don't
God.
understand.
That's literally the biggest critique I have about this movie is some of the like artistic decisions they made with the physical filming.
Yes, it felt almost like a found footage at some points.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah. That's one thing we can agree on.
Look at us go. Finding some common ground.
Yeah, common ground. I'll say something else about the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
2 more things about the monsters.
2?
Yeah, I got a
It's
lot of shit on
Christmas
the
morning.
monsters. Yeah. The sounds that the monsters made, not the clapper hand sounds, the rest of the sounds, were inspired by the 1942 movie Cat People.
Oh.
Which the director, Ben Brewer, described as a really human-esque, eerie sound coming from something that looks very not human.
Okay.
He said it can't sound like it's coming from more than one throat. That was a very specific criteria, he said. And he wanted the sounds to be more focused on like the body moving as opposed to the sound that they produce, because he wanted the visualization of them to really stand out more than any noises that they make.
And that's how we got the clapping.
And that's how we got the clapping. Which is like the only thing I remember about what they actually are or
sounded
do.
like.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Like that's the one thing definitively I could tell you about them, is that they made a stupid clapping noise. I don't know that I could tell you anything else about them.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you want to know my favorite fun fact about this movie?
Always.
So they had a name for the monsters on set.
Mm-hmm.
They called them Mrs. Jones. No, sorry, Mr. Jones.
Oh.
Because they're making fun of their line producer, who was really into counting crows.
Oh.
So
That's amazing.
They named him Mr. Jones.
Wow, I love that.
Me too.
Mr. Jones and me.
Yep. And apparently they played that song constantly whenever they weren't rolling.
Oh, as they should.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It is.
It's nothing to be ashamed of, to be a fan of Counting Crows.
I have never once. I think that might be the only song I know from them, but I'm sure they have more.
They do songs in Shrek.
Oh. I know the Shrek songs.
You don't know which Shrek song. Shrek. Ooh, that's hard to say.
Shrek songs.
You don't know which Shrek song. I did.
No. Not the breath to try again just to fuck it up.
Yeah, you don't know which ones.
Don't even attempt it again.
Oh, fuck.
Also, fun fact, when I was going to see this,
I know
4 hours ago, I walked by a theater and they were playing Shrek 2 because it's like back in theaters.
Yeah.
And I almost just snuck right in and watched that instead.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you. The end of that movie is a masterpiece. I mean, the whole movie.
The whole
end
thing.
Especially.
Yeah, it's really hard to, like, be on the caliber of Shrek 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not everyone can make it a piece of cinema that good.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Well, should we rate it?
I think we should.
All right.
Yeah.
How scary did you think it was?
I gave it a 1.5.
Okay.
Because the first jump scare did get me.
Which one?
When he's with the bugs and it, like, flies at him.
Oh, that's the first jump scare? Oh.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
Is that not?
No, I know. I believe you.
Maybe it was just the first one that I noticed because it got me. But yeah, that one got me. And then there were definitely moments of tension. Like when the arm's coming through. And yeah, I feel like mostly in the first act, there were moments of tension where I was definitely like on the edge of my seat, like, holy shit, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And it kind of got more action-y by the end, but
yeah.
What about you?
I gave it a 2.5.
Ooh, okay.
I give it a full point just for like the general tone.
Okay.
Spooky. And just lots of tension. That was like nerve-wracking for me.
Yeah.
And then 0.5 for the finger scene.
Yeah.
Really fucking freaked me out.
That honestly, I want like a still. Oh, I just like hit my mic. I'm so sorry.
Hello.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Apologies to everybody. I want a still of that. That was such a cool scene.
Yeah. Yeah, the way it just like unfolds and
It
then
just
sometimes it
kept-
just grows.
Yes. I liked that a lot. Yeah. Great shot.
Yeah, I really liked that.
Yeah. How sexy did you think it was?
I didn't really. I mean, I do like Nick Cage, so I gave it a 1.5.
Okay.
But and you know, it's monsters. They make weird noises. They do weird stuff with their bodies. You know, it's just a 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I give it a 2.
Oh, okay.
Just because, like protective zaddy Nick Cage was, I didn't mind that.
Okay.
And then they're monsters.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say no.
No matter how weird they are.
Yeah,
Or
I'm
inconsistent.
flexible. Not physically, but
That's your favorite fucking joke.
love that joke.
God, if I had $1 for every time you told me that joke.
Stop laughing at it. You won't, because it's funny. Gets me every time.
It does. How fucked up did you think it was?
I said 1.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't really think of anything that was like crazy, really. I feel like a lot of it is stuff I've seen before, but like in a new way, It wasn't it was definitely a unique film. It had semblance of other films that you could definitely relate it to, but it was a solid, unique take on something new. But
Okay.
nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
What about you?
I gave it a 1.5. Kind of for the same reasons, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it was fresh take. Take someone fucked up to think of that monster. Yeah. God, so confusing. But
I loved it.
I mean, and they were pretty like, oh, that's kind of fucking weird. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So 1.5.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Overall,
Hmm.
what'd you think?
See, I don't want either of our answers to be influenced by anybody else. So
I
think
have
we
my
should-
answer written down.
I have mine written down. Okay, mine's written down. Okay, you go
say them
first.
at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
On 3 or after 3.
After 3.
No, on 3.
On 3.
No, wait.
How do we?
1, 2, 3, go.
Got it.
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4.5. Wow. I'm honestly surprised by your 3. I thought it was gonna be lower. I'm not mad.
I thought yours was going to be a 4. This is a little higher than I thought.
I really liked this movie.
Yeah.
And what I think I'm a little skewed in what made me like this movie is because my dad Dylan fucking hated it. That made me love it. I was like, I can't believe I just made you watch that. Oh my God, I love that. That brought me so much joy to have them look so confused. And just like you, they were like, they didn't explain anything. And here I am, like,
That's crazy.
you're all wrong. I only took away half a point because the shaky cam made me want to throw up.
That's a lot.
And then, like I said, some of the like literal, I mean, it was one of them, but some of like the literal like camera decisions, like the decisions they made with cinematography were questionable. But fuck, like it has everything. It's got emotion. It's got a weird fucking monster that you've never seen before that made you go, what the fuck? It's got scary scenes. It's got cute scenes. It's got funny shit. It's got Nick Cage. What more could you possibly want? You and your fucking 3. Why did you give it a 3?
It's like the menu all over again.
Except
Reverse.
I was right then too.
No. Put it in reverse, Terry. No. But I gave it a 3. I struggled with this. I think if you had asked me at the end of the first act, I would have said at least a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I was really, really into it. And then I kept waiting for something. And it just never came. And so I think, again, my overall biggest issue with it is that it just kind of felt a little underdeveloped. I think if they had thought out the script maybe a month more, it could have been a 4.5. I needed a little bit more world building. I needed them to utilize Nick Cage a little bit more in the last act. I didn't mind the fact that he was unconscious for some of it, because I think that was unexpected, and it really helped us kind of focus on the brother relationship a little bit more. So I didn't mind that, but I think at the ending, obviously I have issues with the sacrifice thing, and that just kind of fell apart for me a little bit. So yeah, I needed them to push it just a little bit further, and then I would have liked it a lot more. But I did really enjoy it. A 3 is not a bad score. I did really enjoy it. I still would recommend it. It was not a bad way to spend an hour and a half. And that was good too. I think every movie should be an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But that's a personal that's the perfect movie length. So yeah. And I really loved the monsters. We talked about it a lot, but it was fun to see something unique and different and even a little bit zany at times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely not be opposed to getting a prequel or a sequel or something to this.
Nice.
Yeah.
A 3 out of 5 is a 60%.
Okay.
You said it's not a bad score. I mean, it's not a good score.
It's not a bad score.
It's not passing.
I think there's still movies that I like that are 3 out of 5s. It just
Do you
means
like
that
it?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
I just had some issues with it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it was I didn't hate it at all. I thoroughly enjoyed my time in the theater.
Good.
But yeah, I think I just had some issues with it.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah. Well, this
It's
movie
bound
was
to happen again that when we disagreed.
Yeah. This, honestly, if they had just had a fucking steady
Tripod.
cam, seriously, this movie would have been a 5 easy. Easy.
Well, good. I mean, I'm glad you liked it.
I really did.
Yeah.
It's funny because you're aligned with the audience and I'm aligned with the critics.
I think I'm a little bit in between.
Well,
I would not give this a rotten score.
60 is a rotten score.
No, it has to be in the 50s to be rotten on
No,
Rotten
60,
Tomatoes.
60's rotten.
No,
I promise.
I don't think so. Rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes. When at least 60% of reviews for a movie are positive, a red tomato is indicated. Less than 60% is a green splat.
Okay, so you're barely
Who was right? And who
not
was wrong?
rotten.
Well, you won't let me do 0.25s. Otherwise, this would probably be a 3.25.
Well, I mean, we can now. If you want to start with this movie, I'll up mine to a 4.75. And you
Oh
do
my
whatever
God.
you want.
I'd have to go back and re-rate all of them.
Yeah, right? Shit.
There were so many times I wanted to do that.
This
I'm
is honestly
into
a
it.
4.9.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's literally just
Wow.
the shaky cam. But that's
Interesting.
that has a huge impact on the watchability of a movie.
It does.
So you got to take away some points.
I normally, I'll watch found footage movies and it doesn't really bother me that much, but
Mhm.
I did not like it in this one.
Because it wasn't found footage.
Yeah.
It takes you out of it. When it's shaky
It really
cam and
does.
found footage, it puts you in it. That's what it is.
She's brilliant.
That's what, yeah.
I
Sometimes.
guess The real question, though, is would you survive?
No. Not even fucking close. I'm shitting and pissing. The second I see one of those fingers, holy fuck. Yikes. I don't have survival instincts. Didn't get the whole survival upbringing. I mean, I guess if I was in their position, and it's hard to say because
Yeah.
if I was not me, yeah, I'd
Right.
live. Totally. But I am, so.
Yeah,
I just,
fair point.
and I don't want to,
That's
You know?
for real. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I
even
do
wanna,
know.
Now.
I know.
let alone then.
Yeah.
No. Would you?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
Thanks.
I mean, it's not a lot of people are living.
No.
It's like literally just them and one other family.
Yeah, and I love my mom, but like if it was that situation of like me and my sister were babies when the apocalypse happened and my mom had to keep us alive, she's scrappy, but she's also much too kind. And yeah, she always says if like a zombie apocalypse happened, she'd be dead in an instant because someone would knock on her door and be like, "Help me," and she'd be like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Dead.
Well.
She said, if a zombie apocalypse happens, don't be one of those people who travels across America trying to find their parents. I'm already dead.
Well.
All right, well, would you like to predict the plot of next week's film?
Yeah.
Okay. For our 69th episode, we have...
I better get full frontal nudity in this movie.
I genuinely don't remember if there's nudity. It's been a couple years since I've seen this.
Okay.
And if there was nudity, that's not what you would remember from it. It is a French horror film.
Oh, boy. Oh, I do love a French horror film.
We gotta go back to our roots of our first foreign film, which was Martyrs. No, wait, our first foreign film was Train to Busan. I'm a liar.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
One of our first foreign films.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Raw.
Oh, okay. Oh, I love when people eat each other. That's what that movie's about. Yeah, this movie's about a couple.
Uh-huh.
I think Timothée Chalamet's in it.
Okay.
I think.
Little Timmy Tim?
Yeah, Timothée Chalamet.
Okay. What happens to him?
I think he and his girlfriend join a cult.
Yep.
And the cult eats people.
Yeah.
And they know, because a lot of times in like the people eating movies,
yeah,
they don't know that they're eating people. But these kids fucking know they're eating people.
They know.
He's super into it. She's not quite into it yet, so he has to like convince her.
Of course.
To eat people. And it's kind of like Midsummer.
Yeah.
Where they like age out, And that's when you, instead of jumping off a cliff,
you get eaten.
And falling into terrible. Yeah. They just eat you.
Okay.
And yeah, so you eat a person and then you're in the cult. The girl goes along to some of the cult meetings a few times.
Mm-hmm.
To try to, do I want to eat people? I don't know.
Not sure.
And then they have sex and eat people.
Great.
Yeah, and probably she doesn't like that at the end.
Yeah.
Like, after you eat people. So I don't think she makes it. I think either they kill her because she's like, I'm not doing it anymore, or maybe she kind of offs herself. Who knows? You do because you've seen it.
I have seen it. Yeah. Great.
That's it.
you are thinking of the film Bones and All.
Damn it. Son of a bitch. I knew my wires were crossed, but as soon as I said Timothée Chalamet, I was like, that might not be this movie. But I ran with it.
No, yeah, you did. That is not this film.
Darn.
So
Was I close to the other one?
sorry. You know what? I actually have not seen Bones and All. It is on my watch
Oh.
list. I know.
Okay.
There you go. The one horror movie I have yet to see.
Yeah. I'm going to get into a people-eating mood. I'm going to watch all of them.
Uh-oh. Careful. I have some more on our list, so.
Oof. Speaking of things on the list that I watched when I wasn't supposed to.
Oh, Katie.
Sorry. But
What
it's
did you watch?
it's like way down the line. And it's
Mhm.
not even a real movie because it's a Hulu original.
Oh.
And I also watched the original. I watched Predator and I watched Prey.
I know. You sent me some memes about it, I think. I don't remember what you sent me.
So what I sent you was,
TikTok.
okay, so we went to the San Diego Zoo. A few weeks ago, we went to the San Diego Zoo, and there's this exhibit where you can walk in with some of the birds, and one of the birds was fucking screaming. I should play the sound.
Yeah.
Let me just play the sound. Because it's something. Okay, I'm gonna find it.
Okay.
Oh, where could I find it? Oh, I know. I can search bird. Okay, here it comes.
Oh, that's loud.
So that's we'll adjust the volume for you. But the bird, it's called a screaming
Mimi.
bird. It's called a screaming piha,
Mm-hmm.
Piha. And in Predator, in the background, you can hear that bird several times.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was fun and cute. And then Dylan bullied me also into watching Prey, which was very good.
Yeah, that is definitely an example of a sequel being, in my opinion, better than the original. Well, I guess prequel being better than the original. I thought Prey
Yes.
was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And
Good
Predator's
fucking
fine. It's not my favorite, but
Yeah, it was... I got a fun
honestly-
quote out of it that I can use on the daily.
oh great. Which one?
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
There you go.
I say that constantly now.
As you should. Great.
Anyway. Little
Cool.
tangent.
Yeah. You know, it wouldn't be an episode if we didn't go on a little tangent.
Yeah.
I've never abbreviated that in my life. I don't know why I
Tangy.
started today, but
A little tangy. All right, well,
all right.
see you next week when we talk about Raw, starring not Timothée Chalamet.
Not sorry
Unfortunately.
to Timmy Tim, he is not in this one.
Ugh.
But yeah, thanks for listening. And
I just need to say one more thing.
yeah, no, of course.
No, I don't need to. We can go. What I was gonna say doesn't make any sense to say now. Because people who have sorry, I just want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen this movie, why are you listening all the way an hour and 10 minutes into this podcast? Just please go into it without knowing anything. It was way more fun that way. I told everybody to just go into it without knowing anything. It's fun. Okay, that's all. Okay, we can go now. Sorry.
Went to it without knowing anything except the entire plot that we just
Yeah,
talked
the
about.
whole hour and 10 minutes that we just spoiled for you. Sorry. Maybe we can rearrange this or something.
We'll splice this and put it at the beginning.
Okay.
Great,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, see
Thanks
you
for
next
listening.
week.
See you next week.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks. Bye.